This is Matthew trying to see if we're going to have any echoes on this. Are we going to have any echoes? Do we think that there will be echoes? Echoes at all, anybody? Let me go to twitch.tv / Starfall Collective. See if I hear my own voice with or without echoes while I'm talking. Hey, it's me.
Hey.
What I hear is the music.
Oh, sorry. Let me turn the music off. Okay, now the music's off, and only try now. See what you see, or see what you get.
Hey, now I'm talking, trying to see if we're going to get an echo on this at all. This is a test. This is only a test.
I'm not hearing any echoes.
This is me testing too.
I'm not hearing any echoes.
And so, Robert, when
Except
you're
I
looking,
just said I'm not hearing echoes, like just at the right time, so it sounded like I heard an echo from the first time I said it.
hey, so Robert.
I've only
so
got
when you look
I've only
at
got
the,
peaks on one,
Okay.
but I'm gonna put some headphones in and see. Although the time I wore headphones,
Well,
we also got
chaotic.
echoes,
Right.
so I don't think it's my echoes. I mean my headphones.
Echo.
Okay, you can stop broadcasting now, I think.
Echo,
Or
echo,
whatever,
echo.
maybe not.
Echo.
Hello and welcome to the Starfall Collective Season 2, King of the Cloudy Sea, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition adventure. I am Matthew Talamini, your Dungeon Master. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. With me are some of my old college buddies, Sir Robert Burbridge, playing Weatherin, an elven paladin of Oberon. Say hi so people know who you are. Tell them where they can find your stuff.
Hey, I'm Sir Robert. I'm playing Weatherin, and you can go to thefarce.net.
David Farrell playing
To get
Tashat,
boosted.
or Gravy, a lizard folk ranger. Say hi so people know who you are. Tell them where they can find your stuff.
Hi, I'm David. I have a blog. If you want to know where you can find it, you should check out our last episode.
Nice.
How'd you like that plug, man?
Cross promotion.
That was a good one.
I'm
I worked hard
really
on that one.
not
It's
sure
like-
it works.
It's
that
like
way,
watching
but
a man cut off. It's like watching a man steal something and then cut off his own hand.
I'm happy that you made the effort. Dwight Canal playing Fennetir, an elven cleric of Pan. Say hi so people know who you are. Tell them where they can find your stuff.
Hi. You can't find my stuff.
Joshua
Prove
Suet
me
plays
wrong.
Almer, an elven warlock of Chernobog. Say hi so people know who you are. Tell them where they can find your stuff.
Hi, I'm Josh/Mal. You can find most of my stuff at jsuich, SUICH, all over the internet, but I recommend you find the Starfall Collective subreddit, and then we can chat about fan theories and switch.
Hey, did our subreddit get booted in the recent bootening?
I was not informed that it was booted, but I will check after tonight.
I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not.
I doubt that Josh's introductory post has caused enough outrage to trigger a Reddit ban.
In bootation.
We stopped last episode in the middle of an encounter, so the first thing to do is to bring us back into it. Let me paint this picture just a little bit. Let us imagine we're facing north, 200 feet above a sea of slowly roiling, perfectly white mist. Just ahead is a wall of cliffs over which pours waterfall by thunderous waterfall, the world's westernmost ocean. Between two of these waterfalls, there rises a solitary spike or tooth of rock, partly raw stone and partly shaped into a tower by skilled hands. The levitating trees beneath the mist cling to this point of stone as an anchor, a mere 60 or 70 feet wide, while to either side the salt water slides past and down into empty space. The left half of the top of the stone tooth has been carved into the shape of a balcony or rooftop, while the right side still reaches up and forms its natural point. Seagulls call and circle all around, and a smoky fish smell wafts up from below. Looking out from here, you would notice something wrong with the horizon to the northwest. It's not a straight line anymore. In that direction, it's become decidedly jagged. On the right, next to this rough wall, stands a 12-foot stone giant with gray skin. He wears a huge toga stitched together out of some kind of gray leather. A huge wooden club with a stone head lies on the floor by his feet, and he's holding a large stone in one hand against his hip. Before him stands Weatherin, our paladin, somewhat injured, I think maybe still, from the recent fight, but bold and unmoving. The priest Fennetir is off to the side, but he is not looking at the center of action. He's looking off to the side at the giant's pile of throwing stones. Actually, I think at a piece of cracked tile underneath. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
While Josh, the lizard man, stands by the south-facing door, protecting Barkus, the Fujin's first mate, who stands in the door. We watch as the giant slowly puts down his stone and straightens up, and as Weatherin's martial posture correspondingly relaxes. Now, in this tableau, we do not see Malmer, our warlock. Having been ordered away from the scene, he slipped out the door and down the stairs and cast invisibility on himself. I think that we are going to have to follow him for starters. But before that, let's review really quick what we've seen of this tower. There is a
Broken tile.
That's true. That's on the very top courtyard. But on the bottom floor, there is a large chamber with a door leading north and a door leading south, and both of those are an archway leading north and south, and each of those exit out into courtyards. The northern courtyard, kind of like a dock with the sea coming right up to it. The southern courtyard intersecting with the cloudy sea, which is to say the roots of the trees tangled up against it. The bottom floor has stairs that go around the square outside. Not the outside, like the inside walls have these stairs sort of spiraling up them. So Mal, you are, I suppose, descending. Some features you may remember was a smashed up ship that the giant had been saying was full of demons, that it's near to the southern courtyard. If you looked around, you would have seen some smoke coming up in tendrils from the northern courtyard. And there's that's about what you've seen.
So Mal is going to try to find a way to loop back around or find another path around to some sort of vantage point where he can see both the giant and his people. What would I need to do to achieve that?
There's only one door up onto this top courtyard.
Okay.
But there are I'd say windows in the side of the tower is really just one big main room, just covered on the inside with all these ornate Art Deco carvings, very like artistic and refined. But there are windows that let in light and air, not with any sort of glass or anything in there, just holes shaped like I guess small archways, but windows without any windows in them. I don't know what you call that. I'm not an architect. Stop making fun of me. But if you were to make me one or maybe two athletics checks to climb, you could climb from the stairs up to one of these windows on the on maybe the east side of the structure, and then from there you would be able to climb further up and maybe like peek over the side of the wall. You'd have to, from the east side, you would have to come around to the north or to the south, because you don't want to climb all the way up to the very tip top, because the eastern is the anyway.
Okay. I'll go to the north, and that's a 17.
Okay. So you are able to find some handholds and footholds in the carvings. How long does your invisibility last?
A good long while. It lasts concentration up to an hour.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. No problem then. So you are able to climb out of the window. Looking around, what you see below you is basically you're directly above the waterfall of the cloud line. If you were to fall, you would go right into the white water and be washed down out the bottom of the world. You're neither above the ocean nor the cloudy sea.
Okay.
Looking above you, you can see that attached to the side of this wall, there is like there are some branches and kind of what looks like maybe the wooden bracing for some kind of structure that's around to the north.
Okay.
You hadn't seen when you approached from the south.
Okay. Am I able to? I guess I'll just keep moving, trying to take advantage of
Yeah, if you want to climb
Okay.
around, to the north, make me another athletics check.
Not great. 9.
9. Oh boy.
If something
This is
happens like that, he would probably use Misty Step to save himself because he can just Misty Step and teleport 30 feet.
okay. Yeah. So when you lose your footing and you start to sort of fall, the outside is not, especially on the eastern side, is not as ornately carved. It's much more rough rock. It's like climbing a mountain or something.
Mhm.
You haven't used any ropes or pitons or anything, and there's a wind out here and everything. So you can see 2 places you could misty step to. You can misty step to this wooden structure that's somewhat above you and to the north, whatever it is, and you could misty step back inside through the window.
Sure. I'll go to the structure.
Okay. Yeah, you misty step to the very edge of the structure. From what you could see, it looked like from your vantage point before, all you saw was maybe the edge of something like a scaffolding.
Mm.
But what you find yourself on top of looks much more like a bird's nest.
Okay.
So this is like there are seagulls everywhere, but this is far too big to be a seagull's nest. And you would recognize this as the Aarakocra equivalent of a cottage.
Hmm.
So this is like almost like it is very much like a bird's nest with sticks from the cloudy sea and branches sort of interleaved with each other, but attached very firmly to the side of the tower intentionally,
Okay.
and with lots of sort of modern amenities. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, so they have like a stove, and they have a bed and a little bit of furniture, a couple of chairs. There's no roof or anything.
Okay.
They have yeah, you can
But no one's
rest
home.
or do whatever.
But no one is home.
No one's home. There's
Okay.
nobody.
You want to cut back to them?
Sure, you're not within range where you could really hear them from this point.
Oh, okay. All right. In that case, I guess I need to keep trying to.
If you want to get,
I'll look around. Can I make a quick just search of the place? Just a quick one. Can I make a skill check to try
no,
that?
you don't have to. There's nothing
Okay.
hidden, or you don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just heard the
No, this is a very simple. This is like a rude cottage. If you really want to search and like pry things open, then you can make me a skill check for that. But it is what it seems to be. They have a chest. Inside of the chest is like a little bit of food, and there is a religious statue. If you want to know about it, you can make me a religion check.
I'll make a religion check. That's a 10 plus stuff. Religion is a 2, so 12.
Yeah, it looks like a statue of Oberon.
Okay. All right. Then I keep moving and I head back in to try to get around behind, just try to find another place where I've got a vantage point on the giant and my party.
Well, at this point, if you climbed maybe another 30 feet up,
Okay.
you could get to the edge of the courtyard and look over.
Okay. Then I will make a climb check, and it better be a decent one because I've already used Misty Step, and that's not a great number. Oops. Oh, well, it's a cock die. That's a good number. 22.
Yeah, you so you climb up and you are able to get yourself. You could climb back up onto the balcony if you want. If you want to be sneaky and definitely not be heard, make me a stealth check also.
Okay. That's a 20 plus stuff.
Okay. Yeah, you think that you do a really good job of climbing up the side of this structure, and you can sort of crouch or stand or go where you want. You're invisible.
Okay. I'm just standing there watching everything.
Back with the others, the giant says to you, Weatherin, "Look, I'm really sorry about hitting you with my club. I've been dreaming for a long time, and it can get confusing. And that one with you is just like the demons."
I I understand completely. No offense taken. You're trying to defend your place.
So Barkus, seeing that you have you've opened up the possibility to talk with the giant, comes forward and not sure whether he's going to fold his arms or hands on the hips, and he settles for folding his arms.
Tashash comes forward too, and he folds his arms as well.
Okay. And he looks up at the giant. He says, "Thank you for being willing to talk. We don't always have the best of relations with giant kind, and I was afraid that this encounter would go very differently. May our ship pass. We mean you no harm. We have no interest in anything on your island or in your tower. We simply are making our way to Nebulaster's Perch." The giant says, "Oh yes, of course. You can go past, but you should warn your demonic friend. Such magic as I have seen him do, magic with that particular taint. He takes his life into his hands to do any such magic near a giant. And you, the one who follows Oberon,"
Yes.
says to you. "It means nothing. I know it doesn't mean anything." He goes over to the chest
Mm-hmm.
and opens it. And you guys would probably have to make a strength check to open this chest, although it's not locked. But he opens it easily, and he brings out two sort of shark skin necklaces, or not shark skin, but shark tooth necklaces.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he sort of holds them both out to you, and he says, "These are some trinkets that I make up here. This one lets you talk to animals, and this one calls seagulls. I like the seagulls. Now, would you like one as a token of my friendship?"
That would be. I would be honored. And you said one that you call seagulls. Not that you
Yes,
talk to animals or call seagulls.
yes, and what he means is one of them is a tooth necklace of seagull summoning, which is find familiar, but only for a seagull.
Okay.
And the other one is a tooth necklace of speak with animals.
I would do the. That's a tricky one. Speak with animals.
Okay. Says, you're friendly, and henceforth you will be more friendly with the beasts that you meet, I hope. Here you go. And it's sort of like you notice that he has a couple such kind of things around his wrist, but for you they're necklace sized.
Sure. And I also say, I also tell him, thank you. I'm honored that you give it to me. And also, should you encounter anything else, any other creatures, fiends, or undead, and I give him a flask of holy water.
Oh, most excellent. I suppose this is blessed by the god Oberon.
It is strongly blessed.
My Aarakocra friends will like that, although I do follow a different god.
Great.
He seems very appreciative.
Great.
While that was happening, Finitier sort of sidles over to the tiles and repairs them.
You're doing your repair cantrip on the little cracks and things.
Yeah,
Okay.
mending is the. I just checked the name of the cantrip.
He sort of he puts the flask into the chest. It's kind of small in his hands, but he plunks it down there. He actually is very dexterous and closes the chest. Then he looks around. This has become a good dream. It has been nightmares for several days. But I like this part.
Well, I'm glad it's better for you, and if it's well with you, we will take our leave and make our way to Nebulaster's perch.
Okay.
Great.
So, at what point does Mal see this exchange beginning to button up?
Now it seems.
Okay,
It seems
so
that nobody else has anything that they want to talk to this giant about.
That's a good point. As we're leaving,
everybody simultaneously goes, "Well, actually."
yeah, right.
Finitier also gives Malmer, no, not Malmer, Weatherin, the guidance cantrip. So you can add a D4 after or before or after an ability check of your choice in the next minute.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Add a D4 to an ability check
In the next
in the
minute.
next minute. Okay. But as we're leaving or about to leave or whatever, I turn and say, "May I ask you, how long have you lived here?"
Oh, I don't live here.
Okay. Are you from somewhere near here?
Yes. We live north of here, underground,
Oh.
under the ocean. It's wonderful. You aren't allowed, but our caverns are most magnificent places. Light has never entered there, and the stillness, it's like one is in the universe instead of this, made up place.
That's sounds magnificent. I have two questions, if you're willing, that you could help me with. The first is, I'm looking for a very, very old priest, a seer of Oberon, that I think may live in these parts. He speaks like me, Elvish, but in a different style, very old style. Have you seen anyone like this? Heard anyone like this? No. Have you heard any rumors?
No, I'm afraid not. And he goes over to the north side of the wall. This is going to be a stealth check from you, Mal, to get out of his way as he leans over to look down without making a sound.
Okay. Is that a cock? No, it's not a cocked die.
It's not.
It's not this time. It was last time. It ain't this time.
Mm-hmm.
It was cocked last time. 6 stealth check.
You all hear some scrabbling on the lip of the around the courtyard, and there's a little bit of like
Scree.
like dust or pebbles that are sort of dislodged as something invisible scrambles out of the way.
I make minor illusion, some sort of like seagull flapping away.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, cast minor illusion.
Okay. All right. So I've cast minor illusion.
You can do a seagull.
And do I, for some sort of check to craft it together, would that be like a performance check
I
or deception?
What is
Can I make a deception check in concurrence with this spell?
I think it's their wisdom, right? That they just have to do like a
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
to detect
what's
it.
the
The
right?
save is 15 wisdom.
Okay, it's a 15 save to detect whether it's real or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's appropriate here.
Yeah.
Let's see what his wisdom is. Okay. The giant looks over and says, "No, I hadn't seen that seagull here when I came over. Do you want to fool the rest of your party who are up here because they should roll wisdom versus this too?"
Whether I want to or not, I have tried to
True.
make a convincing seagull
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
so-
all of you make this check. Roll a wisdom saving throw, and if it is
Is my passive
Am I in
wisdom
line of sight with?
accurate?
Am I in line of sight with them as well? I thought only the giant could see me.
So what we have is a square, a rectangular courtyard with a door at the south end.
Okay.
You had just come up and were crouching on or near the north edge, and he came to that spot on the north edge to look over, right where you had just climbed up. So you had to get out of his way. I don't know. You can tell me whether you went east or west.
Or down.
East would be towards the wall, and west would be towards the open side.
Whatever's back towards the boat. Mal is currently trying to begin.
The boat is south.
Okay.
There's a door that leads down the stairs, and that's to the south of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
head in that direction.
Go past him to the south. You'll be standing close to Fennetir and Tashash.
I got an unnatural 20.
That was 17.
My passive perception is 18. Does that work, or do I need to actively?
Oh man, I think because this is a spell, you should do it actively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead, I got 21. Bam.
How about you,
Unnatural.
Tashash?
Unnatural
17.
21.
Okay, so
Everybody sees through it, but the giant.
Yeah, everybody sees through it except for the giant. You guys all know that that was a magical seagull, and it probably actually was something fishy's going on up here. You don't know what it is, but things are moving where they shouldn't be moving and making sounds where there's nothing to make a sound, and that seagull was totally an illusion.
Okay.
The giant looks down at something, Weatherin, that you don't know what it is, and he looks back at you and he says, "Oh, my Aarakocra friends are still away. They flew away when the demons started coming. They would know about such things as Oberon and their priestly system, but I'm afraid I'm not too familiar with it." What's up, Tashash?
Would it be too late for me to chuck a javelin at that bird?
Not a bird. You know it's not a bird.
Yeah, I know. That's fine if it's too late. I was slow on the draw.
Maybe you could have regret at not doing it.
Roll for regret.
Regret savings check.
Yeah, I think it is too late for that. I think that by this time the bird has flown. The bird has flown down out of view, and Mal has probably just boinked it out of existence.
Okay.
Cool. I say, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I'll ask the Aarakocra. I hope to be able to help them with their current plight on the Airy Mountain. But the last thing was, we are also looking for a great kraken. Much bigger than, much more fierce than these others. Sorry, guys, I just forgot the name.
Enma.
She's sometimes known as Enma. The captain of our ship is pursuing this kraken. Do you know any way we could either know where it is about, right now, or any way we could find out?
I don't. I don't know where the Kraken spend their time. I see them sometimes, and I sometimes make a note of it when I do. But, like all gigantic things, such as giants, Krakens prefer to be left alone, and I am not interested in helping a hunting vessel such as yours find a Kraken.
Fair enough. Well, blessings to you. That's all I had. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, and you have a way of contacting me, I'm Weather and Valentine.
Small one, he turns to Tashash.
Yes.
He comes close to you,
Hello.
and he holds out one extremely large hand, palm up. Says, "Give me your hand."
Tashash looks at it and then looks up at the giant
His hand or a giant's hand?
and rather slowly, his frill's gone kind of stiff, but looks back at Barkus, and then, but he does it. He gives him his hand.
Yes. Little one, I can sense the eye of the enormous god is on you.
Tashash
I
looks
think,
up. He's
yes. I
Where
think
is
that
it? Is it in the sea? It is not in the sea, is it?
you ask an untheological question, small one. I think that you have seen strange things recently. I am not one to proselytize to that which does not exist. But I think that to follow this God is a good thing.
Thank you. Tashash, rather uncertainly, then kind of takes his pack and rummages around in it, and looks up at the giant and pulls out 50 feet of rope and hands it to him.
An odd gift, but what does one expect in a dream? And Barkus is like, there's a lot of, he's starting to look like, okay, we're done here. Let's go. Starts to go towards the door.
Watherin follows, but doesn't leave until he's the last one out.
Tashash is still standing there staring at the giant.
He's staring back.
Just kind of looking at him like...
And Watherin
This
says,
goes on for, okay.
Watherin says, Gravy, are you staying here on this island or coming back to the boat? to the ship.
Well, you have to get to the boat before you can get to the ship. So.
Sure.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you've got till we get to the boat before this is your new
Barkus.
home.
Barkus says, Lizard Man, come back to the Fujin with us, sailor.
Yes.
And he starts to go.
Okay. Tashash turns around and kind of one eye over his shoulder at the giant,
And
but follows them back to the boat.
where's Venetir?
I'm heading back to the boat.
Okay. So when Waitherin's the last one out, he'll bow a little bit to the giant and then also egress.
The giant follows you part of the way down the stairs. And when he comes into the main structure, you guys are a little ways down the stairs. He says, "Oh, haha, I had forgotten about that. You're going to see Nebulaster, you said.
We are.
Look.
Yep, we're headed to Nebulaster's purse.
Look down there. I found that." And he points to what you had come past earlier, a large section of white marble that's floating some 10 feet above the ground, above the floor, that's carved very differently from the carvings here. It's carved in like circles and whorls and soft edges, but one side is broken off as though it had once been part of a much larger structure.
Kind of cloudy feeling.
Yeah, he says, that is something that I had intended to bring the next time I went to Nebulaster. If you are going there, you might as well take it there for me. It's Cloudstone, very ancient. It's from Gigapolis, the lost cloud giant city. If you've heard of that, you probably haven't. It never existed.
Huh.
I found it drifting, as many things drift in the cloudy sea. It may be of historical or nostalgic interest to somebody like Nebulaster. I'm afraid it's an inconvenient thing to have around, being that it, well, you'll see.
Floats away.
You can take it with you if you wish.
And Watherin is next to Barkus and says, "I would take it if it's okay with you. I think we should."
Barkus says, I think that the giant has a good suggestion. Anything that could help us get on Nebulaster's good side. He's notoriously difficult to deal with. I think we should bring it.
Indeed.
And
Is it all in one piece? Is the broken off piece like floated off on its own?
It's only one piece, yeah.
Okay.
But it's
And
big.
Yeah.
the giant holds out to you, Gravy, the rope that you just gave him, and he said, "I think that you'll need some of this."
Thank you. Tashash pulls out a dagger, chops it in half.
You are
The
an
rope or
interesting dream.
giant?
After I have forgotten these others, I think I will remember you for a few minutes longer. When the morning comes.
Thank you.
And Watherin.
And he goes back up onto the roof.
Great.
Bye, guys. Blessings upon you.
At this stage, what has Mal been up to? You watched everybody go through the door to the south.
Mal has been trying to undo his tactical error of getting himself stuck up in the tower area and is trying to just get around everybody back down to the ship before Watherin gets there. That's his. He's currently doing Act 5 of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, attempting to get back to the bedroom to turn off the stereo system.
Okay. You're still invisible. Make your stealth check. It's gonna have to beat. Fennetir's extremely high passive perception, and the others can. Yeah, Fennetir, you notice somebody invisible is trying to squeeze past you guys on the stairs.
I whisper, "Be cool."
Fennetir,
Fenny?
you there, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Are there ghosts here?
What are you talking about?
There's somebody trying to squeeze past me on the stairs.
And Watherin slaps the air.
Yeah. What was your? You want to make a perception check, Weatherin?
Sure. I was responding more to Fennetir, but yes, I'll make a.
Or you? Yeah, make a perception check to see if you have any idea where to aim your slaps.
It's
Okay.
also talking to me. It says, "Be cool." I think maybe it's saying that it's about to get hot. I don't know.
16.
Attack
Make
with
a,
fire.
should I make a perception check?
Sure.
Okay.
What was your
16.
17.
Mal? What was your stealth check?
The stealth check was 6.
Yeah. So you guys.
When he whispered, "Be cool," it was more like, "Be cool."
his
Cool.
feet are scuffing along on the dust on the stone of the stairs, and you guys can all see it.
And Watherin, I guess rather than kind of slapping around, seeing the dust, says, "It's a good thing Mao went back to the boat and waited so I wouldn't have to kill him." And then
Mal runs.
Also goes, sorry. And when he hears some of the footfalls, goes, covering the footfalls.
And when Mal's like 100 feet away, he's like, "Yes, it is."
Barkus says, "This warlock is a strange character. I don't know what he thinks he's about."
Well, let's get that. Let's get the both of those stiff irritants back to the boat.
Josh, when you emerge, you get down to the bottom of the stairs because you're running, so you get there before them. There's a floating cloud rock thing. There's a door to the north, door to the south. You're going to go. The boat is in this room, just inside of the door to the south.
Oh, then Mal will probably stick his head in the door to the north and just see what's up that way.
Out the door to the north is a courtyard, just like the southern courtyard, and except that here there is a very large sort of altar alcove, and there is also a whole shark that is being smoked above a large fire.
Yes. Gotcha. Well, I think Mal is probably going to run over to the boat, lay down in it, turn off invisibility, and do his best impression of being somewhat deep into a nice 20-minute power nap.
Wonder what that yelling was.
This is mostly for the sake of the giant.
Sure.
Sleep yelling.
If you really want to sell it, then make a performance check when they come down.
You know. Just your standard 8.
It should be contested against Watherin's cynicism check. Is that?
That's
So
called perception.
Oh, just somewhat.
Oh, not
almost
perception. Wait,
immediately.
it's not perception. There's a better skill. There's a better skill for that.
Insight?
Investigation.
Insight.
Oh,
Insight. Yes, insight.
Wisdom based.
Oh, here we
14,
go.
That's what we're doing. Not that
Beats the
Yeah.
heck out of my check.
Not that Watherin cares or doesn't know.
Right.
Finiture
all-
knows what's going on.
You come back down and you see Mal pretending to nap in the boat.
Great. Yeah, we harnessed the little rock thing, and is the south door the door we pulled the
Yep.
boat in through?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, tie a little harness onto the pillar or whatever it is, obelisk or something, and we all work
Kashash.
together, I guess, and try to get it.
Kashash will offer his rope for the task.
Great. Sure thing, Gravy.
Constantly trying to pimp out that rope.
Yep.
Both halves.
You find that the stone, you can pull it to the north, south, east, or west, and it will come as though it was. It takes some effort to move it, to pull it, but it comes. It's as though it was maybe on like wooden rollers or something. It's heavy, but it's not as heavy as if it was sitting on the ground. You can pull it.
So kind of like a gyroscope sort of feeling when you try to pull
Yeah,
it on
there's-
the axis.
Yeah, there's resistance when you pull, but it's not like a scraping resistance. It's more like, yeah, there's some force that sort of tries to keep it where it is, but you cannot pull it down or up.
Okay. And just
What
to
about north?
You can pull it north.
Oh,
The
I
four
thought you
cardinal.
said west, east, and south.
And just
Sorry.
to help me, does it feel like it has inertia? So once it's moving, it tries to keep moving, or is it just having a resistance to being moved?
It's hard to tell because it's so heavy.
Okay, great. I just wanted to see what kind of trouble we're bringing on the boat because we certainly don't want to have to have this rock plowing through things once it we try to stop.
Right. No, when you pull it, it pulls for a certain distance, and then when you stop pulling it, it stops.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but a strong custom theoretical physics game is literally the first thing I look for in any D&D world. I want custom physics.
That's what I look for in everything in this world. Haven't found it yet, but okay. So that sounds good. Also, Watherin is interested in discreetly, with a little, I don't know, a little dagger, some kind of thing, taking a chip off of it, just like a little chip, maybe the size of a coin, and he
It's
wants
easiest.
to. Sorry, go ahead.
It's easiest to do that from the side that is broken.
Okay, and I just want to do that and basically have it as a thing to try to understand.
Sure.
Like just a little trinket. Cool.
Yeah, you pull a chip off of it, and it's very light, but it acts seems to behave like normal marble.
Okay, it doesn't have that same property as the whole thing.
Doesn't seem to.
Okay, great. Well, I stick it in my pocket anyway, and then I'm ready to go back.
Miniature is sitting on top of this rock.
It does not move downward at all when you sit on top of it.
Oh, solid ground, so to speak.
What level is it? What I look straight out like towards the boat and the ship. Am I mast height or deck height or?
The ship is pretty far off, so it's kind of hard to tell. But you are 10 feet above the floor of the tower, and that is there's kind of a slope that goes down maybe 10 or 20 feet to the level of the cloudy sea. So you suspect that this stone will be floating at something like 30 feet above the surface of the cloudy sea.
Good thing we have those 225-foot lengths of rope.
Sure.
So you tie this thing up, and you're gonna attach it to the boat.
That's. I would probably try to attach it to somebody holding it and being in the boat.
Do what you will. Weatherin
Yeah.
and Mal, as you come out, I'm trying to remember who it was who noticed it. But one of you, when we arrived last time, made a perception check to notice as you come out to your left, in the cloudy sea, there's a broken off mast sticking up.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember who noticed, but I remember that.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
Is it
You can
investigable? Like, is
It
it
sure
is it reachable? I mean, okay. I'd like to ask, Barkus, if we can, if while Gravy is, or he and Gravy are doing that, if it's okay if I check out that mask, just see what's going on with it. There might be something useful.
Barkus says, "Aye, we're sort of a kind of treasure hunter. I'd expect my sailors to be interested in investigating shipwrecks. So, yes, any of you who would like to can go and take a look at the
Great.
crashed ship. Don't be longer than 10 minutes. We've got to get back."
Indeed.
I'll climb down and go look at the ship.
Yeah, ditto.
Mal walks up behind Watherin and kind of mutters in his ear, "Look, it's been a while since I've had to take orders from folks, and I'm a bit rusty at it. Next time I'll head to the boat. Okay, I'm sorry. That's on me." He's just like kind of humiliated at utterly flubbing multiple checks here and not being nearly as cool as he thought he was.
And Watherin, something like with civility, acknowledges the Mal's gesture of humility.
Civility versus humility check.
Who
Roll
will
for
win?
it.
Also,
Now, keep in mind I'm Canadian. I get advantage on this. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
hoser.
So Watherin wants to investigate around, climb around, try not to
Sure.
fall down to his death.
Weatherin, when you come close and look at this ship, your paladin sense definitely goes off. This is
In a good way or a bad way?
in a bad way. This ship has been desecrated.
Okay.
So you do have an actual spell that would tell you things about that, but I am enjoying just sort of letting your paladin radar ping off of various things that have been desecrated around you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably also Fennetir might have some kind of senses in this regard.
I have some spells that I can actively do that, but I don't have any of those
But
available.
anybody who wants to actually step onto the boat, when you get close to there, you see that it's lying. The mist is sort of going over it, but it's patchy because it's an uneven surface and it's not on the top of the canopy anymore. The canopy has been broken in a big like 10-foot by 20-foot patch, and lying beneath it, wedged and splintered into the branches of the forest of the cloudy sea, you see a boat. It's maybe 15 feet long. It's a fairly small boat, but it is a sailboat. It's got a single mast. Anybody who wants to, the deck is at an angle, but is mostly intact, whereas the hull has been splintered and broken in a bunch of places. But you can go down there if you want. You see a bunch of it's chaos. There's a whole bunch of stuff littering the deck, rags, and it's kind of hard to see with the mist. So there are lumps of things, and if you want to get a closer look, then you probably want to go down there. If you do go down there, roll me a survival check to see how you do climbing down.
Sure thing. Wow.
I roll a 5.
I did worse.
So did I.
I got a 1.
I got a
Tashashi,
4. I got a 4.
Tashashi, you going down there?
I think I'm back up at the boat helping Barkus.
Okay. So the three of you like start to climb down onto this ship, and
The
all
ship
trust
is
that-
cursed.
We all trust the same bad branch.
yeah, you all trust the same bad branch. Sorry, Mal, you both Mal and
Fennetir?
Fennetir are trying to climb down on the same branch, and it breaks and drops you onto the deck, and you fall on some like sharp, splintery wood. Mal, you take 6 damage. Fennetir take 2 damage, and then Weatherin, you're in a slightly different place, but when they fall, it moves things, and you trip as well, and you fall against an even bigger splintered board with some rusty nails and stuff. And so you're going to take 6 damage as well.
Okay.
From that. But the structure, once you fall onto it, it shifts a little lower, and you hear a really loud creaking sound, and it tilts like just a little bit more. Stuff slides around on the surface, but then it gets still, and it doesn't move anymore. Seems like it's pretty stable at this point.
Okay.
I would like to check and see if there's anything that I can mend that will make it more stable.
Yeah, but your mending spell is what, like 6 inches by 6
A
inches?
foot.
No, 1 foot in every
It's
direction.
a foot cube in. Okay.
Any dimension.
It's a linear foot, but in any dimension.
What I'm going to say is that you can go ahead and start doing this.
I will do it.
Roll me up a.
Fennetir becomes more, I'm looking for the word, industrious than you've ever seen him.
I guess I don't know what check did I make you do for when you were trying to do this to the side of the Fujin's deck?
For the side of the Fujin, we had to make a nature check, an arcana check, and a
Okay.
possibly survival.
Sleight of
I
hand.
think this will just
Sleight
be,
of hand.
I think actually what I want is an investigation check for you to figure out like the properties of the structure and where you can best use your mending to help it stay together.
I can't use my passive. I gotta use my active.
Investigation, not perception.
Yeah, I know, but
There's a
also my
passive
passive investigation.
Yeah,
go-
you can use your passive investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 14.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You are able to probably be useful, you think. Like there's a place where like a branch has like gone right through the hull, and you can sort of grow the wood back around the branch so that
for what it's worth, like as you said, yes, you can use your passive. I rolled and I got a natural 20, but I have a -1 to investigation, so it wouldn't be a natural 20. So
okay.
do with that as you will.
While your priest friend is busily turning this crashed ship into a really fun treehouse around you, a 1 foot square, 1 foot cube at a time, are you two gonna? If you look around, I can tell you what you see. You see some dead bodies, and you see there is a like red, or actually it's a black like cloth, like a flag or a pennant that looks like it had been on the mast, but the top part of the mast is now fallen over and sitting askew on the deck.
Sorry, I think you might be muted, Josh.
I am.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, whether at first this takes moments, and when he first comes down, wants to use Divine Sense, which just basically is the one that lets me know bad things. The Hallow spell for good or evil and undead and stuff like that.
This has been desecrated
Okay.
to the by the forces of the dark god Chernobog, and the dead bodies are those of aberrations.
Wow. Okay. Watherin is interested in going to see if there's anything that he can relatively safely get to that's below deck, like a captain's quarters or something, and see if there's anything, maps or journals or stuff like that.
There's
So
no
looking for
below deck,
something.
right? There's no below deck, but there is like a small hatch with a storage space.
Okay. Is there anything that looks like it might be where the captain might have been? Where I'm imagining like a British, kind of warship of the 1400s.
I think you're imagining a significantly larger ship than this is. Think like a Greek trireme or something. It's only 15 feet long.
Triremes are pretty big.
Got it.
Okay, don't think
Monoreme.
of
A big-bellied Viking longboat.
Think of a short Viking longboat.
Okay. Then I want to search the bodies, but with weapon in hand.
Okay.
I don't trust that there's not anything Chernobygian going on.
Yeah. And you guys can, Josh, tell me also what Mal is doing, because there's plenty of stuff to search.
First of all, Watherin, it's Chernobygalicious, not Chernobygian. But yeah, Mal, while Watherin is looking over these bodies, Mal is also going to, although he's going to try to do it as far away from Watherin as possible, just in case one of these things like wakes up and tries to talk to him or something. So he's going to pick the far one, and he's going to go and search him. So do I need to make a perception check or a survival check or medicine?
You searched. So the one that you searched, Mal, it was impaled on these shards of wood.
Okay.
And then the one that Weatherin is searching, the two that Weatherin is looking at were both crushed by rocks from above, and you can see some bloody rocks sitting on the deck. When you start to examine these bodies, they've gone a little bit putrid, so it was hard to tell until you go right up to them. But they're Nothics, like the one that you saw before. They have a single eye in the center of their forehead, and their backs and arms have spikes all coming off of them. These have like cloaks on, so they're kind of mangled and torn up. So it wasn't easy to tell it until you came close.
So Nothics wearing clothes, and they're all dead, and that's the only humanoid that I've seen so far. Is they're all Nothics?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're Nothics. It's not really like clothes. Coverings. Sure. The two that you are looking at, Weatherin, each have a little iron key.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all they have. They're on like leather cords around their necks. But the one that you are looking at, Mal, has more. It's actually got like a little weird kind of pouch thing that it's carrying on its side. And when you look in there, you see that there's actually a scrap of leather in there with words scratched onto it. Like how a leather surface can be scratched to make permanent marks. That's been done to this with words, but you don't recognize the script. There's also a spell scroll in there.
Are they deep speech? Because I would recognize that.
Do you know Undercommon?
No, I know Common.
Undercommon is like I guess it's the never mind. If you know Undercommon, you can read this.
Mal calls over the group and says, Watherin, gentlemen, I have something. Look. And he holds out the satchel and shows him the spell scroll. He hands the spell scroll to Finnetir, and he hands the script of leather to Watherin.
And also, Watherin comes over, but he grabs the keys because
Where there's
Inventory.
key,
he knows they
there's
might not be
fire.
useful, but he knows they might also. Sorry, go ahead.
Watherin used to play this game as a boy called Zork,
That's right.
where you go through a town and you just take every small item.
Big ones if you can.
And big ones if you can.
Yeah, cool. Watherin looks at it and cannot make anything out of it yet.
Nor can I.
Cool. And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do one last thing, and then we're going to go on our 10-minute break. But as you guys are looking at these items and chatting and talking, some of the wood shifts, and the pennant falls in a different arrangement, so that now it's visible what is on it. It is a long black pennant with an image of a red halberd on it and a word written in letters underneath of the red halberd on a black background that you cannot read.
Mal immediately jumps up and pulls out his belt knife and slits the thing off and holds it up and begins poring over it and staring at it.
And that is where we're going to go on our break. We will be back at 9 p.m. with the rest of the episode. Hello and welcome back to episode 8 of season 2 of the Starfall Collective, part 2. Our heroes have gotten back aboard the boat, and they're finding it a little bit strenuous to pedal this thing. If you recall, the Fujin's boats that it can send out are sort of something that we might recognize a little bit more like a hovercraft, in that they don't sit in any fluid, but they rest atop this canopy of very large leaves that are covered by mist and sort of a little bit slick. And it's very flat and raft-like, but still, looks like a boat with a giant fan on the back, which is powered by a system of gears and foot pedals. Right now, they've got it tethered to an enormous. I want to say the noun that I like to use for this is a block, an enormous block of stone, but it's not block-like. It's carved into. It's very soft edges. It's very rounded and carved into
Like a marble pillow.
Except for one side, which has been sheared off and is rough, as though it was once part of a larger structure. They've got this thing tied to their boat, and they are pedaling really hard, but they're having to pedal 3 times as hard to go the same distance as they were before. But they're slowly making their way back to the Fujin. And it does seem that the Fujin has now noticed that the hostility of the giant, which they can sort of see from where they are, has faded, and that magical D&D combat only took place for a little while and has calmed down, and now their friends are coming back. So the Fujin is now sort of coming towards you along this strait.
Great.
Is anybody going to do anything?
Can I climb back up on top of the marble pillow?
It's like 30 feet above you, and it's attached to you by
25 feet of ropes.
25, yeah, some number of ropes. So
Hey, no screwing around while we're down in the cave, man.
You can make me an acrobatics check to climb the rope.
I will do that. Ba-ja! 18.
With an 18 acrobatics check, you notice I think maybe you haven't had as much to drink being out all morning, and you're able to scramble up this rope pretty well. You guys see your priest go up the rope, and he sits on top of the cloud-shaped rock.
Mal looks around at everybody and says, keep your eyes sharp. There's a very real possibility that there are 1 or 2 of these things that didn't get impaled, and they might be lying in wait for an ambush. And he shifts, and he turns into basically something that looks like a dryad. All of his skin looks like bark. His eyes look like, glowing green, living acorns or something.
What things? What things?
More of these. And he gestures down at the Nothics, and
We're on
says,
our boat right now. We're going back, right?
oh, I thought we
Yeah.
were still down there on that smashed up boat.
Oh, I mean, if you want to, I was starting us off after a little bit of time had passed. But if you want to
Fill in some backstory.
some backstory while
That's
you're
just that's how they leave. Mal looks like a dryad, and he's scanning, waiting for everybody to get up, and he and Watherin are going to be the last 2 up.
Do you say
So
anything?
I go first.
Do you say anything to Shash and Barkus about the crashed boat?
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, when we get topside, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Tashash, they tell you that there are
Okay.
3 slain Nothics of the same kind of creature that you have seen once before.
Oh, okay. So we get to the top, and I turn to Shosh, and I say, 3 Nothics, the one-eyed creatures, dead down there. 2 of them were lackeys. 1 was a sort of leader. He had some sort of information on his person. and he holds out the leather script, or at least he indicates to the leather script that's probably visible in Waitherin's hand.
Yeah.
And he says, "And a spell scroll in Finnetir's possession." And he points over to Finnetir with the spell scroll.
Josh blinks at him.
I waved the spell scroll at you.
"I'm sorry, brother. There was no quarry down there for us to hunt." And Mal kind of hangs his head.
Right. Yes.
And Barkus says, yes, well, we knew the giant was fighting something that he hated. Makes sense that giants would dislike these creatures. Everybody who's sane dislikes these creatures. Let's go.
Mal takes a deep smell of the flag. What does the flag smell like? Can he make a nature check to try to see if he can smell a particular current on it?
Putrefying Nothic.
Through the putrefying Nothic? What can he smell of the sea where Chernobog moves?
Yeah, make any kind of check.
Okay, that's a 15.
Let's
Smell
call this a
survival.
let's call this an investigation check. So 15 plus your investigation.
Okay, I was going to say 15 for that. Okay, so 18.
18. Yeah, it smells like it's a piece of cloth that's been out in the cloudy sea.
Okay,
It smells like everything around you always smells.
okay.
Cool.
And Mal
Hey.
is thinking about what's on the pennant. Go ahead.
Finnetir would like to try to identify this scroll, but without reading it in such a way that it is cast and disappears.
Sure. I mean, I think, isn't it just if you have a little time to look at it, you can know what it is?
Yeah, typical.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a spell scroll with the spell fly on it.
Okay, sweet. What level is that?
You may want to familiarize yourself with the use of spell scrolls.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at them, but the way the D&D Beyond does is you have to tell what level it is.
It's 3rd level.
Okay.
And I believe that sorcerers, warlocks, wizards, and artificers would be able to use this spell, so they would be able to use the scroll.
So not
Also,
me.
a wizard could copy it out into a book. I don't know if you would be able to copy it out, but I don't think you use a spell book anyway.
Yeah, I don't use a spell book.
Right. So I think it's probably not much use to you particularly.
Except it has
Gotcha.
sometimes some monetary value.
Oh, yeah. This would have a high monetary value. It's a rare item. Or I don't know if rare is the right word for it, but it's
uncommon at least, or it's
at least uncommon. I think probably rare, technically. Also, Sir Robert, I should give you the details so you can write them down of the item that you just got.
okay.
This should be called a tooth necklace of speak with animals.
Uh-huh.
It requires attunement, and it has 1 charge, which is regained at dawn. But it does cast the speak with animals spell as though you had cast it.
Okay.
With your, it's a magic item that you can use to cast the spell.
Okay.
It does not have the property that many magical items have, which I do not like, of making you roll a d20 if you use the last charge, and then something bad happens if you roll a 1.
Yeah, right.
Both of those items that he offered you are not as good as a normal magic item with that spell because he's not like an enchanter.
Sure.
He's like a hobbyist.
Yeah.
So that's why this only has 1 charge.
It's better than my last one.
Unless
Mal
go on.
Mal rolled a 20 to try to notice those items on Watherin. Is that legitimate? Can I like notice that he has those things?
You saw me get them.
You saw him get
Okay,
them.
cool. All right, moving on.
Yeah, you were invisible at the time, I believe.
Oh, also, as we're going back to the boat, and I'm sitting on the cloud, I say a little prayer of healing, and everybody in the boat. It takes me 10 minutes to cast, and when I'm done, everyone on the boat gets 2d8 plus spell casting ability, which is 1. So let me roll.
Roll yourselves 2d8 plus 1, or
So
I mean,
I'm pretty
rolled
sure he
2d8.
rolls that for all of
I
us.
think I roll it and everybody
Yeah.
gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, go
When
for
you
it.
add the modifier like that. Yeah.
So 8. Everybody gets 8 hit points back.
Very nice.
And we are going to take a long rest.
When you get back to the ship, the captain and the other officers, Sarah and Kyoko, are very interested in this thing that you found, and they're interested in hearing the tale of your brave deeds. And when you tell them about how it happened, they look kind of suspiciously at Mal, and then they sort of look back at each other and are like, yeah, that sounds about right. We're a little bit skeezed out by him too. Now, if you want to be there, you can use this opportunity to try and counter this sort of reputational hit you might take by everybody hearing about.
Yeah.
So, as a quick aside, the way Watherin's going to tell that is matter-of-factly in a military-ish way, and without any particular scorn for Mal, except with a very obvious worldview slant from being a Oberon guy. So he's not jabbing at him personally, but he is jabbing at him very much impersonally.
I'm not sure Mal is going to be able to tell the difference.
Sure, I'm just
so. Yeah. Mal is going to say, "Gentlemen, what good would it do me to deny that creatures such as these serve the same master as I? It is true, but I ask you, how have I wielded my power? Have I harmed any of you, or have I harmed our foes? Have I ever given any of you reason to believe that I would betray or harm you?" And he even looks the Aarakocra in the eye as he's looking at all the others. And he says, "I serve a powerful hunter, and the last time I checked, our captain valued anything that brought value to the hunt."
Yeah, Goryo is there.
And he puffs his chest out.
Yeah, Goryo definitely is on your side with this and says, the giants are a cowardly race, hiding away in their hills and in their cloud cities, whatnot, seldom descending except for the fire giants who I respect. But I value this sailor for his prowess in the hunt. I'll not have you look poorly on him.
Great.
So you tell them the story, and do you focus on any particular details, or do you leave anything particularly out of the story?
Is this in front of everybody, like the ship? Is that who's there?
There are sailors who are around and working, but the ship is now underway again, and the island is going to start sliding by to your right.
Okay.
So there are sailors will be overhearing you, but most of the sailors are working. But the officers and the captain are there.
I would say I would go a little bit lightly as a sort of side note about his dire warning about the threat that the kind of magic poses. So I'm going to let him know, but I'm not going to like punch it because I can tell there's something not quite right about the captain. Uh, that's Waitherin's perspective on it. There's like he's a little less wary of the captain than of Mal, but they have the same flavor. And also the drow thing, right? But he just says he basically, sorry, Waitherin's going to use this as a way to try to get them to at least keep themselves in check a little or think about it, and also to convey that the floating stone, might be of some use for Nebulaster, and also Waithrin says, Captain Gorio, also if you have just a few minutes later today, and I could speak with you in private, I would appreciate it. I have an urgent matter that could affect, it's urgent to me personally, and may have some impact on the mission that we're on.
Of course. As always, or do you? Let's see the leather piece with the scratches on it, and the cut off pennant. Do you show these?
I don't have the pennant. Mal has the pennant, but I don't show the leather piece. I would have no interest in showing evil things to evil people. So.
Okay, so you keep that close to the vest.
Yeah.
How about you, Mal?
Tucked away. You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Mal also tucks the pennant down into his breastplate, kind of armor stuff. He just kind of tucks that away, and he can make a sleight of hand check to do it, but he does it as surreptitiously.
No, you had the whole boat ride here to hide away anything you wanted to hide, so we can.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quickly, and as a part of his normal journaling or whatever that Waithrin does, because he's kind of bookish and that sort of thing, sketches a copy of both in his journal. Just similarly with the letter that I had got, just recording what's happening.
It's going to be like after the meeting, once you're alone.
Yeah. In my not quarters, but in the hammock or whatever.
Right. Good.
Mal would definitely go to Waithrin and ask him for the script back and say, that has some bearing on this quest and has a meaning that it is important, I believe, that we divine. To not divine it would be leaving a blind spot in our hunt. And he holds out his hand for the leather script.
When is this happening?
After the meeting?
Sometime after things have settled down. After you've made a copy of it.
Sure. Waithrin is reticent and wants to just see if he can tell if it's special in any way, like magical or anything, as opposed to just being informational. If Waithrin feels like it's just information, he's fine to give to copy it, like draw a picture of it, and then give it back. If he feels like it's got some kind of magic happening, he would be really reticent to give it to him.
Doesn't seem to be magical.
Okay, then Waithrin after Waithrin copies it and does not let Mal know that he's copying it, he says, "Sure, I'll go get it for you and bring it to you," and brings it to him sometime later.
Okay, so make sure you have that in your inventory. You should put it down as, I guess,
leather script.
Leather script with dark elven writing. Or I would not say dark elven. Oh man, I just gave it away. Sorry. Undercommon. Although I mean, I told you it was undercommon already, and who speaks undercommon?
Sure.
But
Semper ubi sub.
Elves littered.
Hang on, Matt. Can I earn that in a sec? I need to earn that, and I need to talk to Tashash, and I'm good.
So, sure.
Okay. Mal would like to make a religion check to try to commune with Chernobog if he can. Mal rolled an 18. and
Where
has a
are you?
religion score of +2, so that's a 20. So Mal is trying to make a 20 religion
Is this
check to
on
do some
deck?
sort of ad hoc spell to try to divine the meaning of this script. Like invite Chernobog to give him guidance on this script.
You spend some time praying to Chernobog,
Hmm.
and there doesn't seem to be any effect.
Okay.
While you are doing this,
Not
there's
even with the pennant. Ugh. Okay, go ahead.
there's a sailor who you recognize named Aku. He approaches you, Mal,
Okay.
sort of taps you on the shoulder or like squats down next to you,
Hmm.
and he says to you, I hear you're looking for information about Chernobog.
I am indeed. Do you
Just
know
might-
anything of this?
I just might know a thing or two about that.
Hmm.
But nothing is free. I have my own interests. All I want from you in exchange is information. Find something out for me. How, shall we say, fanatical is the second mate, Sarah, when it comes to things like following Gorio's precise, exact orders? If she could be convinced to bend the rules a little bit, for the good of the ship, of course, for the good of all the sailors on board the ship, you included, of course, but disobey a little bit. Well, what would that take? Is her loyalty absolute, or is there any wiggle room? Come back to me with that information, and I may be able to help you when it comes to your dark religious interests. Then he twirls his mustache and goes back to work, like swabbing the deck or whatever.
Okay.
Weatherin, you knock on the captain's door.
Mm-hmm. And I went to get the Aarakocra.
Okay, Kalerk.
Kalerk.
You go and get the harpooner Kalerk.
Yeah, we had previously,
And-
he and I had previously discussed about trying to get to the Airy Mountain.
Air Mountain.
Air Mountain, sorry, yeah.
So yeah, he's able to take a few minutes to come with you and talk to the captain.
Okay. And I guess
What can I do for you, harpooneers?
I have a question to ask Gorio, a request, maybe a favor. When that strange abomination came to the ship a few days ago, or whenever ago, it had in the ship a letter of distress from Air Mountain, and for reasons that are important to Kalerk, but different reasons that are also important to me, it would be I would very much appreciate being granted leave to help them in their distress. I could take the small boat that we picked up from from the incident with the aberration and take it myself. I know that it's hard to spare crew, but there are other able harpooners who could take my place, and I'm willing to forego any pay for the journey for it. If I can be spared, I would go.
You are indeed a noble soul. Kalerk, you too. You would like a vacation time from our hunt for Enma? And Kalerk is like, I would go with him. If I could, I would go. And the captain says, "Nah, we may go by Air Mountain at some time, should the hunt take us there. But sailor, you are sworn to the duty of this vessel to hunt Enma, the king of the cloudy sea, the great kraken, and that is what we're doing. I do not give thee permission for any other task such as the one that you mentioned. Do you understand?"
I understand, and I won't go against your order, and I will commit myself wholly to the hunt for Enma. However, if you should be willing, or if we can possibly go by the mountain, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'll take it under consideration.
Thank you.
Tashash,
Mm-hmm.
what are you up to?
What time is it?
Things since you got back to the boat in, I would say, late afternoon. Evening is starting to come on, a little before dinner time.
Okay. I'm
Is the
waiting.
night coming any differently, visually speaking, now that we are at this point geographically?
Oh yes.
How is it different? How is the
Well, so-
sunset different?
The what you see when the sun sets is much more white than you have previously seen. Much more yellow and orange and white when the sun sets, and when the sun goes down below the surface of the cloudy sea, it is not nearly as green as it once was. The areas that you have been traversing up to this time, sunset and nighttime have been just eerie green glow as far as you can see. But here, it's a green that is a lot paler. There are sections where the sun, as it goes below the cloudy sea, is no longer shining up through 2 layers of green canopy before it comes to the mist and comes to you. But rather, it's just shining through the mist. So like a lampshade instead of green lampshade. It's brighter at night here than it was, and it's the sailors are nervous about being this far west.
Hmm.
Wait,
But
we're
to
far
shop,
west?
Yeah,
I
northwest.
thought we were going up the northeast side of that triangle.
You're at the far northern point of the top triangle.
Where are we? We're at Nebulaster's Perch?
Or you're
Okay.
you're approaching very close to it.
Gotcha.
So we're
So
coming from
the-
down this way. So really, we are here where that arrow is.
You started in the far eastern point of the
Yeah.
diamond. You've
So
made your way up.
anywhere from we're like halfway across the sea.
We're more
Oh,
than half because
much more than
we were
Much
here.
More than half? What?
We were here at the halfway point.
Yeah, so
And
that's
we've
one
kept
quarter of
traveling
the
this
way
way.
across the sea.
We've kept going this way, and now we're
Yeah.
even closer to it. We just haven't made it all the
We're
way.
even closer to halfway. We're not yet halfway.
Well, we were halfway when we were here.
Halfway.
No, that is like a quarter of the way across the sea.
Okay, from here to here is what I'm
Yeah.
talking
He
about.
means from
I'm
the
talking
eastern point
about
to the
east and west.
Right.
We're certainly not. We're nearing the halfway point from east, all the way east to all the way west.
Okay, I got
If you take the integration this way, then yes. Fine, we are here, and we are not yet halfway.
Gotcha.
You're almost. If you, I mean, everything around here, nothing is as rigid as it can be depicted on a map. Everything here is loosely connected by this forest, which is constantly moving and changing, and it's literally just connected by interlaced branches of trees that are constantly growing and dying and falling away and moving, being blown by the wind. So the diamond-shaped sketch that the sailors and Kraken hunters use to know where they are in the cloudy sea is a very rough thing.
Gotcha. So
And therefore, this
anything-
is perfectly valid.
They like to be close to that far east corner.
Yeah, they don't like to be near the center because that's the depths, and there are dangerous creatures that live there. And they don't like to be in the northwest line because that's the ragged edge where it gets like this, where there are places that the ship cannot go because it'll fall off.
Yeah.
And you're getting very close to the genuine beginning of the ragged edge.
I gotcha. At some point, I thought you said the ragged edge was the line that we were sailing along.
Nope, that's the cloud line
Cloud
where the
line.
ocean falls off the edge of the world.
Oh, that's different from the ragged edge.
Very, very different.
The ragged edge is where the clouds fall off the edge of the world.
Gotcha. This is starting to gel in my head in a way that was different than before.
So there's okay. So we're still above the.
Hey,
You are nearing.
Dwight, Josh, hold that map up again. And hold on. I just pulled it up so viewers can see it. I made it really big on the screen. Good. Keep talking.
Nice.
So there's still still stuff underneath us. We're not like
Yes.
out in the middle. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you're keeping very deliberately. The way it works is that the northeastern edge of the cloudy sea, the trees cling for dear life to the rocks that make up the cloud line where it's not a waterfall. So there's thick forest near to the cloud line, but then as you begin to go further, you get further from the cloud line, and especially as you go further west, when you're this far north, it starts to get a little ragged. And that's what you're starting to see the first of, especially as the sun is setting in the west. That's why you're noticing this different effect for the first time, because there's all that, the ragged edge is directly west of you, and that's what the sun is setting over. So it's a much paler green than it was before. Because
So-
you're getting close to Blaster's Perch at the far northern end.
If I were to try to talk everybody into going to the southern point of the diamond, they would all want to go back to the starting point and then
They would
south.
probably, the safest course would not be directly south. Actually, if you went, the safest course would be directly south for a little ways, but then you would try to skirt around the depths to the east.
Okay. And did the depths have that? The trees like fall away into there? Or
No,
is
the
there,
trees
like, a
are much,
notable-
much bigger. The trees, that's actually
Bigger.
the sturdiest, thickest part of the cloudy sea, where the ship would be the safest on the surface.
except for the
but
giant monsters?
that's also the most dangerous place when it comes to the wildlife.
Gotcha.
And things like rogue mages or whatever, like
Like
dark
the guy we ran
liches
into,
and demigods and
except
vampires and stuff.
possibly stronger than him.
All right. Kashash.
Right. So yeah, Tashash is gonna wait till like night, like late night.
Okay. The sea is an eerie
Before he-
green beneath you.
Yeah, before he does anything, and he's kind of, and as he's doing this, he's been keeping an eye, like kind of inconspicuously keeping an eye on Waithrin to see where he goes and what he does.
Okay.
I assume he eventually bunks down.
Yeah, I mean, he goes into a trance. He's an elf.
Okay,
You
cool.
guys are not night shift. Kyoko's
Right.
night shift.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's gonna wait till like everything is just like dead in the night, like deep.
There's never a time when nobody is on deck, there's always
Right.
somebody steering, and there's
Yeah.
always somebody in the crow's nest, and there are always sailors that are on watch on deck,
Right.
making sure
Yeah.
ropes stay tied down,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. But that is the quietest that it will be, is
Yeah.
midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Right. So he's gonna wait till then everything's settled down, and then he's gonna go to Watherin's bunk, and very very not trying to startle him, but he's gonna wake him up, get his attention, get him out of the trance, and he says, Paladin, wake up.
And Watherin is used to being able to wake up and still be quiet, and says, what is it, Gravy?
Yes. I need to speak with you. Come with me.
Watherin, who sleeps in his leather armor, ready, gets up, has a weapon, and follows.
All right. I'm gonna so very very stealthily, I'm gonna head out on deck and just find a spot where we're alone, and and preferably like out of sight of anybody. Okay.
I'm ready.
Matt,
Watherin just follows, and
do I need to make a stealth check or anything like that?
No, you don't need to make a stealth check or anything. Okay.
Cool.
You do so.
Okay. Yeah. So he gets.
I can give you more specifics. There are. I can tell you specific places. Not the very prow of the ship, but a little ways back from it, you can find a quiet spot. Also, in like the lee of there's like a quarter deck, a raised deck in the back. And there's a spot where like you wouldn't be seen by the steersman, like sort of near the captain's, near the door to the captain's quarters and the captain's mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody is usually around there, and you have a little bit of cover there as well.
Okay,
I think there are a lot of different places where you could have a private conversation.
Right. I think he would probably go to the prow. Okay. And kind of like close to the side. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's far from.
It's very doable.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, so once they get there, like, and Tashash is looking around. He's very alert. Watching to see where they are, and he leans in close to Watherin and he says, "Right. I have something I need to tell you. I would like to make you an offer. I realize it may not seem like an offer, but I would make it. It is an offer that I make. I think you seem a wise elf, and you seem reliable." He kind of looks off to the side. Certainly more than the shady one. I do not think him very reliable.
Watherin is
no.
Responding. Watherin's not saying anything, but is attentive.
Yes, I would, but yes, right. I would propose. What do they say? An alliance, a pact. And I sense that you are here. You have a purpose here. You seek something important. I would offer my assistance in that. And I can give you I give you my name, Weather and Valentine, as my bond. My name is Tashash Shash Ureye Shashta Tashash Masha Shash Ureye Shashta. I am the one who sees the hawk, who sees the owl, who sees the mouse, who sees the grain, who sees the sun, who sees the one. But
Um,
yes,
sorry, Matt, does Watherin understand that metaphor or that not metaphor, or whatever?
He says, Tashash has said to you in the common language what he said.
Okay, great. I didn't know if it was some religious thing. Okay, great. I mean, I didn't know if it was some commonly known thing.
If you would like, I mean, it's a thing that has deep roots in lizard folk culture. So a history check would be appropriate
Uh,
if you wanted to
I don't want to
think
break.
back.
I don't want to break the flow right now. So any further. So and I feel like I get it.
okay. Right. So he says, but I must. I. He seems a little. He pauses a second. He kind of hesitates. Seems a little unsure what to say next, and then he says, "I. It is a poor offer I make. I know this, but, but I have given my word, and I have given my name. So, but you see, I must. There is something I must do. There is something I must do first, and and if you would come with me, then you have my bond, and I will do for you the same. But I must do this thing. Yes.
And Watherin says, "What shall I call you? Shall I still call you Gravy? I can't. I don't think I can say your entire name."
You may call me Gravy.
Gravy. I'm willing. I could use help for what I'm doing, but it does matter what it is you want to do.
Yes.
What I'm looking for has been waiting for me for 2,000 years.
Yes.
I could wait a little longer, as long as it makes it more sure. So I'm willing to come and help you, but you need to tell me what it is, and I need to have a clear,
Yes.
unambiguous understanding before I commit.
Well, I will tell you this thing, and if you say no, I understand. We made it. We made the deal. We made a bargain, if you remember. Yes.
In the priest's quarters?
He looks a little confused.
What bargain?
No. Yes. He leans in real close. I told you. If I saw any of my kind, I would tell you, and you said you would do the same. Yes.
Yes. I remember that bargain. Yes.
Yes. I have seen them. Oh, one. I have seen one. I've seen a great lizard.
How great?
In the sky, broad as the clouds. Its scales burn like the fire of sunset. I've seen it.
You saw a great lizard in the skies above, as big as the clouds.
Yes.
Okay.
And you this is what you see, it is my blood. It is my blood. It is my kin.
Okay, and what do you need from me?
It is great. It is like, it is as our fathers. It is as our grandfathers. It is as the great sires of old of our people. You know what this is. Do you know what this is?
I
Do you
not.
understand the call of the blood?
This seems like a good time to do a history check. Matt,
Sure.
is that what I should do? I don't know if Watherin knows.
I think that what you should make is a religion check.
Okay. Give me one sec. Okay. 16.
You're confused by this.
Okay. I tell Tashash, Gravy,
Yes.
I don't understand. Can you say it more plainly for me, please?
He appears to be struggling with this, and he says, It called to me. It spoke. It has called to me, and it has summoned me, and I must go to it. I must go.
And
I
what
cannot.
do you need from me?
It cannot be denied.
What do you
The
need
call
from me? How
of
can
its
I help?
blood. Will you go with me?
Go with you where?
I do not know.
Well,
But it is my blood. It will find me and it will tell me.
I'll tell you this, Gravy. I am willing to help you. If you're in danger or not in danger, if it is urgent, I will help you as long as I don't have to break any oath I've already given.
Right.
Since I don't know what it is, I don't know how to tell you because I can't tell if I'll break an oath, but I won't break my word. I won't break an oath. And as long as I don't have to break an oath, then I will help you.
Yes.
And then afterwards you will help me.
Yes. That is.
The lizard folk actually have that word. They have the word for that in their language. That's how good they are at negotiating.
For.
He's like, that one. Yes. That contract.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. I understand. And I hold you. I ask that you break no oath. If that is what is required of you. If that is what is required of you. But I must go. I must go, and I must go now.
Sorry, you don't know where you're going, but you have to go now?
Yes. You do not have to go with me if you do not wish to, or you cannot. I would like you to come. But you do not have to.
Are you leaving the ship right now?
I must follow the call of the blood of my kinsman.
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Gravy, only a couple of hours ago, I swore to the captain that I would stay under his charge and keep hunting for Enma if he were to help me. I cannot leave the ship right now.
I understand. And he, Tashash, takes Weathering by the shoulders and touches his forehead to his forehead, and he says, I understand. Well, then, Wather and Valentine, I hope your death comes quickly, and as you desire it. Die well. And with that, he turns around and he casts Pass Without Trace, and he jumps over the side of the boat.
Ta-da!
Now is kneeling on the side of the boat, performing his ritualistic dressing knife motions, right? For getting, whatever, a kraken. He's basically performing kata of slicing kraken. And as he's doing this, he's being fairly silent, and he's meditating on different weapons that he could be using. But he's being perfectly silent as he's kind of going through these motions, pretending to wield different kinds of weapons. Does he hear a sound when a lizard folk-sized body hits the canopy?
What's the text of Pass Without Trace?
Excuse me.
Well, you're saying that you just happen to be up. I'll give you that. You just happen to be awake
Well-
right now, but everybody else is asleep. But okay.
A
You're doing
veil of shadows and silence radiates from you, masking you and your companions from detection.
And it gives you like plus some enormous amount to stealth checks.
Plus 10. An
Yeah.
additional plus 10.
No, you don't hear anything.
I would have I would think in going out onto the deck in the first place, if Mal were out there, Tashash would have been aware of him and specifically would have been looking for him.
Yeah, Tashash is not anywhere near where Mal is.
Okay. Yeah.
So Weatherin, you see him turn from you, and you take a few steps towards the edge. At what point does the spell take effect? You see him cast the spell. Does it?
Yeah.
Are you heading for the edge of the ship when it takes effect, or does it take effect before you can tell what direction you're going?
Yeah, I think he casts it as he goes over the side.
Okay, so you see him head towards the side of the ship, a veil of darkness and silence.
We're next to we're like very close to the edge, so I mean, like this is going to happen very fast.
So Weatherin, you see him turn and go over and vanish, but he can see that it's a spell you're casting.
Yeah, he has to cast a spell. And I see where he's vanishing. I see him jump over or whatever. Do I get any kind of sense of evil or anything from Tashash ever? Like when I cast my... when I've used my paladin senses?
No.
Nope.
He's something of... if you were to meditate on his spiritual state using all of your paladin abilities, what you would get is something like a blank slate, I think.
Okay, then Watherin sorry, let me look real quickly. I'm looking at my...
Can I do something for 30 seconds while you make a decision?
It's okay with me. Watherin...
If you know what you're going to do, go for it.
I'm ready.
It seemed like you could use a minute or 30 seconds to think about something.
No, I think I'm all right.
Okay.
Watherin prays to Oberon quickly under his breath and says, Oberon, forgive me, but Fenris is waiting, and I think that this ship will keep me safe, and I've given my word. And he jumps over after Gravy.
Whoa.
What?
When you pray, when you make that prayer, your Oberon sense tingles, and
Okay.
you get you feel something like the god chuckling or laughing, but not at you and not at Gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like like he's laughing at his brother, who's doing something a little bit silly and ungraceful.
Mm-hmm.
You up to it again, you scamp. Something like that sort of kind of a chuckle or a laugh,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel in your heart like that he almost like he's reached an arm out
Mm-hmm.
across your chest to restrain you.
Okay. I think then that if you'll, let me narrate what happens as I jump over, and you tell me if that's acceptable, and we can cut it if not in post. Watherin, uh, because Watherin basically has sensed a lot of evil on the boat. I'm going to narrate a little bit of his inner
Sure.
churning. He has sensed a lot of just black stuff, darkness on the boat, and nothing out of Gravy that way. And he seems to be earnest and pious in whatever way some kind of weird lizard guy is pious, and has a direct commitment to help him go to Air Mountain where he thinks he needs to go. So Watherin is much happier helping Gravy do some necessary thing towards his god with an apparently unmalevolent spirit about him than helping this whole weird Goryo drow Mal thing that he doesn't know what's going on. So he says that, commits himself to, let's call it, commit the bold sin of breaking his oath, and jumps up. And as he tosses himself over the edge to land with the thing, he feels strongly what you're, like in himself from Oberon, understands it to be a restraining influence, like against what he's going to do. That's not like not chastisement at all, but just a restraint.
That's
And,
correct.
Because of the kind of elf I am, with I have the ability to use what's it called?
Misty Step.
once a day. And
Okay.
As I'm falling and I feel that sudden restraint, and it it kind of, I'm more strongly torn, but I can tell what Oberon's saying, and so I take it as him preventing me from that as I was saying, bold sin, and Misty Step back up to the ledge, and so he kind of jumps off and then jumps back and then walks back down to his thing, somewhat frustrated, with consternation, but resolve that though his heart wanted to go with Gravy, he needs to do what he's doing.
And that is where we are going to end this episode.
Can Mal not immediately react to that for like
You're
a
on the other
second?
side of the boat.
You don't see any of this.
I'm on top of the boat. If I'm on the boat and I'm doing stuff, being silent, and I hear somebody jump off the boat,
You don't hear
you're not
anybody
telling me
jump
that
off.
as a sailor?
There's no splash.
You're lucky that I didn't tell you, no, you're asleep when this is all going on. You're
Fine.
trancing during
Fine.
this.
Then can you give me 10 more seconds?
You don't know that anything has happened. You
I
are
don't know
making,
any of this.
You're doing your devotions to Chernobog in a different part of the boat. But yes.
Fine, then I'll do it at the beginning of the next episode. I know when my artistry is not welcome.
And this is going to be a short.
He was very deliberate about
session.
keeping everybody from knowing what he was doing. So your character
I'm
does not
completely
know.
unaware of the fact that my
You're unaware.
lizard folk has finally done what I knew he would eventually do, which is go completely apeshit and disappear because he gets some idea in his head, and he's just going to be gone.
Language. Okay. All right. We're gonna do the thing. Weatherin,
Hi.
did you take any risks to help your friends or shipmates? Seems like you just now did.
Seems like I just now did.
Take
And
one
some
experience
problem.
point for that.
Okay.
Did you advance your personal quest?
Yeah, I would say I did in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Do you want me to describe them or just?
Real quick, we're
Uh,
past time.
Yeah, just one of them is finding out about the Aarakocra, knowing more about that kind of thing. I have a way to go, and also the other is getting the captain to, be aware and consider it as perhaps a weight in his next decisions.
Yeah, sure. Oh, did I ask you about? Did I ask you all 3?
You just
Where's
said
my
2.
head? Was it the personal quest I just asked you about?
Yeah.
Okay, then is there any special way you helped in the hunt for Enma the Silver Squid?
Yes, I asked Nebulaster if he had any information. It didn't happen to be fruitful, but it helped in the hunt, I would say, depending on how you mean helped. I put my
Wait.
efforts to it.
That was Nebulaster?
That
No,
was
sorry,
not
Not
Nebulaster.
Nebulaster, the other guy. I tried to get information about how we could track him or where he currently was, or she or it or whatever.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Take a point for that. Did your attitude towards fate complicate your life in a meaningful way?
I would say in the last few moments it did.
Yeah, sure. Although I wouldn't normally want to give 2 points for one thing, it's fine. We got to move along.
Okay.
Tashash, did you take any risks to help your friends or shipmates?
I think Tashash offered a very strong pact to Watherin.
And that would be helping
help him.
Watherin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and there's a lot of risk involved in that, or like what that might require him to do.
Take a point for that. Is there any special way you helped in the hunt for Enma the Silver Squid?
He helped with the negotiations with the giant.
Did he?
I mean, he was there.
He was there. No, I don't. I'm sorry, man.
Okay.
Did you advance your personal quest?
That's complicated.
This is your personal quest is to visit Nebulaster and ask him about astronomy.
That's the most unambiguously answerable question you've ever asked. He threw himself off the side of the boat to follow his quest. He did the most drastic
Before
thing anyone.
Nebulaster. We're about to get to Nebulaster.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say it was a good idea, but he's trying to.
If you say that Tashash thinks that this is going to get him towards Nebulaster,
yeah, he's following the blood.
Then
the blood
it
is
counts.
maybe, right?
Yeah. He thinks. Okay, so this. I think he thinks that maybe there is something useful in this, and particularly what the giant said. He was kind of on the fence about it, but what the giant said, like the thing that the giant said to him, he interpreted that as sort of an imperative. And I mean, like, he's interpreting the vision as like
you
ancestral.
sort of think it's all connected.
Yeah, pretty rare. The thing is, though, a big part of why he went over the side of the boat is that he's actually still in self-preservation mode, and he wants to get off this doomed ship.
That sounds like a fate point.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So his motives are rather complicated at the moment.
So take 2 experience points and 1 fate point.
Yep. Okay.
For this episode, Fennetir, did you take any risks to help your friends or shipmates?
Nope.
Is there any special way that you helped in the hunt for Enma the Silver Squid?
Nope.
Did you advance your personal quest?
I'm sorry. Back up. What was the first question?
Did you take any risks to help your friends or shipmates?
Yeah, you went into potential combat with us on a party. You dropped down on the ropes with us and stuff.
What?
Or
I
even
don't
if you,
remember.
yeah, we went on missions together this episode. You put your neck out for us.
I
You were
think
part of the party,
There wasn't any combat. What?
but it
Yeah,
only
this was-
happened to not be combat.
that was
You were
last
in a dangerous
episode.
situation with
Yeah,
us.
that was
No,
last
you mean
episode.
the wrecked ship, right, Josh?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. He went
Oh.
down on the wrecked ship with him.
I mean, I healed some people.
You guys did get a little bit hurt going down into that wrecked ship.
Then it's
But I
Listen,
think-
that was a slippery. Go ahead.
You weren't going down there to save somebody or anything like that. You were just
We were
curious.
just climbing on to see what was up. I didn't
Listen,
risk.
we boldly messed around in there. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think Dwight's right.
But we fell, we hurt ourselves, he healed us, he shared in the spoils of going into a treacherous area. I maintain he helped.
Did you advance your personal quest at all?
No.
But you asked about the thing with the giant. You asked about your book thing. You spoke up and you asked a question after Watherin did.
That was last time. Matt is muted, I think.
No, I don't think I'm
Oh.
muted.
Didn't we just talk to that giant this episode?
We
We
didn't talk.
talked to him last time and this time.
Yeah, a tiny bit last time. This time it was when we actually parlayed, and at the end, remember, we all went, actually, and we all spun around on our heels. We all said, actually, let me ask you just one quick thing. And Watherin went first, and then you asked.
I think only I actually asked him something.
Oh, okay. Well, then, Dwight, you were
Did your
metagaming.
attitude towards fate complicate your life in a meaningful way?
No.
Sorry, Fennetir. Malmer, did you take any risks to help your friends or shipmates?
I'd like to think so.
What risk did you take to help anybody?
He was arguing with the absolute god of the universe to give experience points to his friends.
So, for starters, I went down on those ropes with Watherin to go check out the other thing. The trouble that I did put myself in, I put myself in order to be able to position myself to provide supports, provide cover, because I believed that Watherin was being foolish and was going to basically just walk up underneath the giant and get squished because diplomacy was just going to fall apart instantly. I did not
It was also
anticipate
last
this
time.
guy basically being a guest on the Mr. Rogers show.
That was also last time.
No, this time he was climbing around on the outside of the tower, which was risky. And if you were doing that tactically, then sure, you can have an experience point for that.
Okay.
Is there any special way that you helped in the hunt for Enma the Silver Squid?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of the whole, like, that's why we did all this extra stuff. That's why I'm trying to, well, that was my stuff, kind of, wasn't it?
A special way. That's what he asked.
Hmm.
Is there a special way you helped, not a normal way?
Yep.
With the hunt for Enma, maybe not. I can't think
Did
of
you
one right now.
advance your personal quest?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. You definitely did. Did your attitude toward fate complicate your life in a meaningful way?
Yeah. I mean, that was Mal completely and totally channeling his core philosophy. That was him just basically taking the floor for a moment and preaching his worldview. Like, listen, guys, we're allies. We're in this together. That's the only thing that's going to get us through, is being strong together and united, snuffing out. That's why he wanted. And when he went to Watherin, he said, "I need that because there's a loose end." Like, he's trying to protect himself and his crew. So to the degree that he's disobeyed Watherin, all that stuff, it's in service of trying to protect the crew. protect
Okay.
the Alliance.
Cool. So you can have a point. You can have your fate point for that. And a quick hint. Feel free to forget this because maybe I shouldn't even tell you. But this episode, you came the closest of anybody to getting the secret experience point. So thank you very much, everybody,
Already forgotten.
viewing our Dungeons and Dragons episode today. It was a lot of fun. That is all for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Tune in this same time next week for another exciting episode. And remember, failure is beautiful.
That's good because I did a lot of it tonight. Ugh.